As we've been reporting, the trade dispute between the U.S. and China is now deepening as China continues to retaliate, as we saw yesterday. Let's bring in Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry. Congressman, thanks for stopping in.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Congressman, of course, as a member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, I want to get your thoughts on this. After China slapped those tariffs on $60 billion on American imports, a number of lawmakers on the Hill and even members of the Trump administration, Larry Kudlow, the financial advisor, admitted that this could be painful for some American consumers, specifically farmers, for some time to come, but it will all be worth it in the end. Now, when you talk to your district in Southeast Pennsylvania, when you look at them, what are they feeling now? Are they looking to are they looking forward to the future and feeling the pain now? What do you tell them?
Nobody likes the tariffs. Not me, not even the president, I don't think, likes the tariffs. But we have limited options regarding China. We certainly don't want to get into any conflict with them otherwise. And so, but China has been a malign actor for a very long time to America. They've been abusing us. They're essentially a kleptocracy regarding our intellectual property. It goes unabated. They cheat on nearly every single paradigm that we have from a trade perspective. And I guess in the greatest sense, in many ways, China has already been economically at war with the United States for many, many years. This president has recognized it and sought to do something about it. And that China is retaliating is it's absolutely patently absurd. I mean, retaliating against the United States' justifiable claim that China has been mistreating and unfairly treating America and America's businesses for decades.
Right.
And so while we don't like it, it has to be done. It just has to be done. And every day that we wait, it just gets worse and China gets stronger. So it's better to do it now than to do it later.
Okay, so no one's a fan of the tariffs. President Trump did tweet this morning, China wants a deal. Are you seeing evidence of that? Are you as confident as the president is in this eventual deal?
China's going to be forced into a deal. They need our economy much more than we need theirs. The question is of time. China's going to try and play long ball on this thing, as they always do, and back out. Even the agreements they make, they usually don't honor them anyhow. This president is holding their feet to the fire. And what happened was they agreed to certain provisions of a trade agreement early on in the negotiation. And when things didn't go their way, they just walked out, assuming that this president would be like many in the past and would buckle under the pressure. I don't think they understand Donald Trump, and they don't understand that he's not going to buckle under the pressure. He can play just as long a ball as they can, and they're going to lose in the end. So the best thing for them is to come to an agreement that's good for both countries, as opposed to the unilateral actions they've been taking over a very long period of time, which have been bad for our economy. And this president will have none of it. And I think that most Americans appreciate that. They don't like the tariffs. They don't want to pay the higher prices, but they also don't want to be emboldening and enriching China at the expense of America and their own communities.
All right, I want to switch gears here on to Iran. Now,
sure.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo meeting with Russia today. He's set to meet with Vladimir Putin as well. They talked about a lot: North Korea, Venezuela, Ukraine, of course, Iran. Now, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov calls the Persian Gulf situation after those two Saudi shipping vessels were attacked a crisis of the Trump administration's own making. Those are his words. What's your response to that? In your mind, are sanctions on Iran doing what the U.S. wants them to do at this point?
Well, the bottom line is that Iran can't be trusted with nuclear weapons. And with all due respect, the time that we start believing and listening to and putting credence in Sergei Lavrov's statements is a bad time for America. They're the Russian government. They don't have any interest in what's good for America. So let's just take those comments out of the equation at this point. This president has echoed early on that he didn't support the Iran nuclear deal, nor should he. Iran was never going to abide by it. They're always headed towards nuclear weapons anyhow. We have made a commitment, and most of the democracies in the world have made the commitment that Iran can't be trusted with nuclear weapons, and the only ones that are big enough to impose and enforce the secondary sanctions of the United States of America. Iran's not going to win this play either. They're not attacking, even though that they have telegraphed that they're going to imperil the United States or United States interest with our military forces showing up in the area. It's a very strong sign that we mean business, and that's why they're attacking other folks. They're going to try and push the limits, but they're not going to push the limits with America. They might with some of our allies, but not with America, and that's what you're seeing evidence of. And of course, Russia doesn't like it. Russia wants to continue to do the influence in the area that it has been doing for years, and Secretary Pompeo and President Trump have let them know in all uncertain terms it will not be accepted. There are going to be consequences for those actions.
Well, one more on this, Congressman. Just over a year ago, as you're well aware, President Trump pulled the U.S. out of the Iran nuclear deal. You, of course, applauded that move, saying at the time the time for strategic appeasement is over. Now, after the recent developments in the Persian Gulf, do sanctions appease this behavior? Or
no, sanctions don't appease the behavior. No, we need to take it as far as we can. We want to do the minimum that we have to get these malign actors back in line, so to speak, and have them being good neighbors to the community. But you don't start out at the maximum level. You have to leave some space for improvement, and I think that's what the president's doing, and that's what the trip today with Secretary Pompeo, the conversations about, is we could go much further. And Russia is their influence in Venezuela and in Syria and so on and so forth. All these things are part of the equation, and they can continue to try and drain their resources and hobble their own poor economy if they want to do those things, but there's going to be a price to be paid for it, and Vladimir Putin needs to know that, and I'm sure he's receiving that message. So he has a decision to make, and the United States is very serious right now about its intentions.
All right, Congressman Scott Perry, you're a decorated veteran, still serving in the Pennsylvania National Guard. We appreciate your service, sir, and we appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you, sir. Have a great evening.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.